CNN reported that celebrities were speaking out for Britney Spears. CNN, Fox News, and other networks have distinctly, non-distinctly, and simultaneously. For example, one of the networks brought in an expert, I think it was on Fox News, and who deals with this. But then he said in the conversation, he said, "Why I'm not a doctor." See, they have a whole bunch of people using what doctors say, and they've been fabricating audio and video into databases. I caught them with abuses of children and of elderly that are everyday standing. If you don't have correlation, if you use correlation, you could discern this actually recorded. So they've been using time always too fast, too slow, simultaneously, while Interbranch has been fabricating audio and video. Various natures of courts and various natures of police forms are involved with our own. Delusions wrought too since founding, that's evidence. Now these are also people that want to argue about who read what, and they're all offensive with theory into sciences, and it's in the way now. We have no representation in every science because of it. So in other words, they won't respond. They're lying about what's actually the substance of what people are actually recorded communicating online. Even the president, when they speak about it being an insurrection, they're really only forcing the presidents or leaders of other countries to collusion with locations, areas, and states, criminally foreign influence, delusions wrought, and pretending others, screening it for the breaching method that was here since before our founding parents were born. They used the pathology, tactically denatured identity, the grounds identity of relationship to itself as a method. And this is since before computers. Everyone had to go over those crazy laws. Like there was slavery against everyone. It was sickly distinctly against someone if you have pigment, specifically so they could measure and maintain measured and self-cultivated roles, blaming other things, others themselves, what the breaching method was causing and was involved with that was the real cause of negative value nature, progressions, acts, and natures. In all exceptions and exception nature, the nature of everyone regarding it was also employed by a breaching method. Now that keeps a raise of different opinions on fake sides of issues, where through time we've seen they use time simultaneously too fast. Simultaneously, they're using time too slow to get out of around forever nature, and they're pretending that they're using passions and care properly, but really never science never spoke for one location, let alone was most forsaken, and that needed as a style to pretend others. This nature is going to keep demonstrating it. Correlation nature even. Correlation demonstrates real science never spoke for one location, let alone was most forsaken. But so people pretending to be science because they're backed into a bridge sciences, self-value, and that's maintained. So they want to have people argue and debate about things. They also have their patients and criminals and celebrities who are their patients and involved with their own physical delusions. Now we have to be able to counter the various natures of courts personally involved with these places criminally, like triage locations, where they force people for mental health evaluation when there's disturbances with, people needing to yell and stuff like that, where they're needing to counter violence, where there are people using guns, including ones with badges, juxtaposed originally and still involved with overt criminal enterprises and private ones. It's not complicated. What's complicated, what makes it appear to seem complicated, they've been blaming groups wrong. They've been blaming individuals wrong for the real causes of predicate acts, for the real causes of criminal and seditious natures like wrongdoers, mass wrongdoing. You have victim predators in groups pretending to be about, pretending we have the right to assemble. We don't even need to assemble. We have online now. See, but we have offensively. They're pretending passions and emotions about the insurrection, for example. They're preventing mandated law from demonstrating. In other words, then they're pretending people need research. In other words, you need to get them from the names forging and switching. These are hundreds of nations. Russians and Americans have locations that are involved, their own against their own, and our own against our own, and that's self-value when they're fighting with each other. So they need to fight with each other. They need to self-value that, being and having been, even if it kills them, hurts them, and the people that fight with them, they don't care. They care about their job the way they went for it, as a job, as an employed breaching front screen, needing to pretend others. So there are courts involved with uses of Facebook pages too, so they can pretend passions and emotions in relationship to what people typed, but they want to leave out what came before that, because through time, even with littlest, youngest grades, they're making instances between people that they can pretend other. They're involved with identity thefts and frauds. They're involved with forging names, switching names, using that time to fabricate audio and video into databases. They're having people call up complaints at each age, so they can lock people into pretending they told the truth to and with and as the police forms, as the judicial forms. The only three branches of government. Originally, still, there's many ways to use correlation to discern that they're criminally foreign influence delusions wrought. When you ask the questions to yourself, why are those locations forsaken? And they're still pretending passions, emotions about patriotism anyway. To defend that, they need to define America in contrast, through contrast. Those other countries need to define their countries through contrast. They need to define their patriotism in relative to contrast, not relative to what is actual, which would show Marbury versus Madison means more than they would let it mean. Real justice must satisfy all appearances of real justice. Guys. So respond for them, switching names, forging names into bridge, because they have this methods. Originally, they're still using methods where they know if you're going to walk into court, they have a whole bunch of ways they can fabricate audio and video. Criminally foreign influence readings of statutes originally still right through our own. That's what the problem is. We have victims, but we have victim predators. We want to speak to them about victims, then they want to debate you with some other overall physical delusion, all this stuff like that. Get them on paper. That's what I'm trying to say. Get them to one name and sequence. Because they also have these people that they put with those different kind of drugs and their family members. In other words, they put someone for a mental evaluation in hospitals that are around our triages and things like that. When we have community things, then the people who are there, they even have the people, family members of fire departments, stuff like that, with that hierarchy, their jobs, titles. They're involved with identity thefts and frauds. Predicate acts with databases when they were kids. Everyone speaking through others. Then they use their names. It makes it sound like you know them. And then those people use other people's names. They don't even know you. They're speaking through others just because the people are in they're only three branches of government. When do they have credibility? They didn't.